What's good, y'all? Today I got this box from ECS Tuning, and I'll be upgrading that vacuum line that sits on top of the N54 engine bay. Not even upgrading it, really, just kind of moving it away. So this is totally unnecessary to do, but if you have DCIs like me and you kind of want to free up some space, get a slightly nice looking engine bay, you can relocate that entire hard line for the brake booster and basically move it underneath all the stuff that's in front of you anyways. So kind of get a cleaner look. It kind of shows off your DCIs. I'll put some footage right now what it's going to look like afterwards. Fairly easy to do. You don't even need any of this stuff from ECS, but just a little bit easier. Kind of more of a cleaner solution, so that's what I'll be doing today. Alright, so the first thing we gotta do is remove the old hose, which is pretty easy right here. This guy just pops right out. However, there is one connection down there which we should remove as well. There's also one over here, which we just gotta press down a little white piece, and the entire thing should just kind of pop out. Maybe easier if you remove the cowl, but I'm gonna see if I can try and do it without doing that. Here I've got the entire thing pulled out, so that's how it went kind of toward the high pressure fuel pump area. Those two lines went toward the canisters over there, and then this end went all the way to the brake fluid reservoir, and this nasty hard line goes all the way across above the air intake. So now we're going to take rid of this, or take this guy and kind of take some of those fittings off, and we'll be using that with the ECS kit I got on that table over there. Also, this vacuum line went right over here. I just didn't take it off because it was kind of hard to take off, so shouldn't really be a problem. Alright, so out of these three fittings we got on this old hard line, ECS says to reuse two of those, meaning the two 90-degree ones. Now, my 90-degree one over here that actually used to sit on top of the engine bay is actually cracked. Not at the point where it's going to leak boost, but the connection itself is kind of broken. But it still connects just fine. I can still reuse this. However, this one down here is just totally fine. Now, there's a slight angle to it instead of it being 90 degrees, so unfortunately I can use that, so I'll have to use this one instead. To replace this is probably way too expensive, so I'll just be using this. But if you're taking these off, just remember trying to break these things. I broke this a long time ago. I think the engine was hot and I just needed to get it off as soon as I could, and of course it broke off. So please be careful with that. And then to take these fittings off, use a razor blade, kind of cut the hard line, and then just kind of gently to make sure you don't go through the actual fitting itself. And then this guy should just kind of come off, and we'll be using that with the new lines we have. So I'm using some razor blades and some heat gun basically. I was able to get these off pretty well. I'm not quite sure you'd be able to get this off without using heat gun because it's pretty hard to cut through. This is a pretty old, plastic line, right? So constantly being baked to the engine bay. So recommend some heat for sure. Heat gun worked out pretty well. The knife will just basically cut through it like butter, and then that's basically trash now. And we just got these two fittings now. Like I said, mine's a little bit broken. This one over here you can kind of see. Not quite the tension you're going to want, but it is what it is. And now you can move on to assembling the new line over there. Alright, so once you get the ECS kind of main silicone hose out of the package, this is what kind of the rough sort of shape is. So we got this end with a little bend going to the brake fluid reservoir area. So we're going to attach that same fitting to that. And then down here, we're going to put on that little kind of, I guess, splitter for all the vacuum lines that is in that box right there. That'll go right there. And then we're going to have that small hose connect to that splitter, which will then have the fitting on it to connect to the sort of vacuum line close to the high pressure fuel pump. So I'm going to get that thing out of the box real quick. It's basically aluminum fitting. I'll show you guys right now. Here it is. Pretty high quality piece of aluminum. Really like this. Now, such a small little detail that probably no one's going to see, but I just like knowing that it's there, At this point I've done all that kind of basic stuff, the N54, so I'm kind of doing some really random stuff that is totally unnecessary, but kind of cool, I think. So for relatively low cost, you guys can do this too. Not really adding any performance really, but I actually noticed that my old hard line was kind of cracked in some areas, so I may have been losing some boost there a little bit, so this could help with that. So I'm going to assemble it real quick, just a matter of some hose clamps, and I'll give you guys a picture of what that looks like. Alright, I've got my fittings attached, all clamped down nice and tight, pretty much all the way along. The old one's right over there. The only addition we should have to make is they supply this vacuum line. So essentially the vacuum line on the side of the car, the one that goes all the way back to the exhaust valve, which I don't even have in use right now. But that's what this design is for. They supply it just so you have enough, because it's going to be long. It'll attach to this port of this guy right here. So yeah, let's go install right now. Alright, fully installed. As you guys can see, I've got that attachment right there, which goes all the way behind the throttle body, kind of in between the wiring for the that kind of clamps onto the intake manifold, and it comes all the way down, and you can see it right there. We've got the two lines that come off of it for the air canisters over here, and then the other one that goes all the way below the charge pipe. Have it come back over here, which actually does nothing right now because I have the line detached with a golf tee, as you know, as usual, at the very back of the car. So this really does nothing at all over here, but we don't want any leaks in the system. So, yep, it's all kind of set down there. It is kind of tricky to wire the stuff, or not wire the stuff, kind of get the piping kind of back there. So hopefully there's no leaks. Also, those clamps, the silicone hoses, are not the best in the world, honestly. It seems like as you try to clamp it, it just kind of slips off, so you don't want that at all, do you? So be aware of those.